Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I do want to speak about the Bane and Deathstroke movie that is going to be starting production very soon, because we have just heard some news about the script being finalized and completed and turned in by the writers themselves, meaning that James Gunn is very serious on wanting to start production on this movie very soon, and most likely it could be taking place later this year. Now, I know that many do have questions on why would Bane and Deathstroke be teaming up for a movie. I'm going to be explaining what is going on and what are the plans for the future of the DCU and the Batman universe, because all of this does seem very, very exciting. So on July 18th, 2025, the script for the untitled Bane and Deathstroke movie was submitted. The writer is named Matthew Orton, the exact same writer that made Moon Knight and Captain America 4, and he has spent the past 10 months developing this story. And the current plan is for production to begin by late 2025, so anytime between September to November of 2025, which would be 1 year after the project was first announced back on September 2024. So think about it. They have spent since September up until this day to write this movie down. And even though the studios have yet to officially greenlight the project, it's definitely moving very fast. Now, many do have questions on what this movie could even be about. And I think that one of the most popular theories is they could be taking on the League of Assassins storyline, and that could be the central plot. This whole storyline begins with the death of Ra's al Ghul. This is something that is definitely referenced in the Batman, the Brave and the Bold storylines. And because Ra's al Ghul does die, it does leave a leadership vacuum, right? A void to fill. And everybody within the League of Assassins, they're questioning who is going to be the main leader. And that is when Talia al Ghul does step up, and she's like, I'll be the leader. But not everybody does agree. Talia is Ra's al Ghul's daughter and also the mother of Damian Wayne. She is the exact one that tries to claim leadership, but she is met with a lot of resistance, like we discussed before. And that is where we do get Bane entering the storyline. He is the one that does challenge Talia for the leadership role within the League of Assassins. Bane was once affiliated with the League in some continuities, but he ultimately does return to challenge Talia. And he himself also sees himself as a very rightful heir to the organization's mission, because he brings strength, order, and fear. And of course, within the League, it brings a lot of chaos, because now they're questioning, do we choose Bane or do we choose Talia? And so people are choosing sides. Then we enter Amanda Wallers, who intervenes through this whole situation. Amanda Wallers does watch this whole chaos unfold, and she's like, okay, I see an opportunity to control or to dismantle the League. And that is when she says, I'm gonna send Deathstroke to infiltrate the League, take control, and ensure that the US has influence over their resources. Deathstroke is her most effective operative, and that's mainly because, Deathstroke is just so badass. He completes a lot of tasks. He's really good at what he is sent to do. This ultimately does set up the core conflict of the film, which is Deathstroke versus Bane. We have Bane fighting for control of the League on his own terms, and then we have Deathstroke working as a tool of government power and trying to fulfill Waller's mission. And I do think that, through the story, if they want to, initially, we could see them be enemies against one another, really hate each other and clashing violently to pursue their own goals, but then only in the end for them to realize that they're both being manipulated, or maybe that Talia's ambitions are more dangerous than either expected, which ultimately does lead towards them forming an alliance. So they're not real teammates, but it's just an alliance, something that they have to do. And then of course Talia retaliates by calling Lady Shiva, and it just goes chaos from there. It gets bonkers as the story does progress. With this theory and with this storyline, it does accomplish a few things. For example, it establishes the League of Assassins as a major force in the DCU. Second point, it does set up characters like Talia al Ghul, Lady Shiva, Deathstroke for any future crossovers, and we get that emotional depth and political drama within a villain-centric movie. But most importantly, right, because I know that everybody has been having questions about the Batman, who is going to be the DCU's Batman, what's it going to look like, and when are we going to be getting the Batman elements within this universe? Well, think about it, right? This does lay the groundwork for Damian Wayne's backstory, because we will be seeing him, if they move forward with this story, in the DCU, and we'll be seeing Damian Wayne before he does appear in Brave and the Bold, which is a project that James Gunn wants to do and is fully committed on doing in either 2027 2027 or 2028. So if you really think about it, James Gunn is literally setting up this world that the Batman is going to have to step into. We're going to get Clayface in 2026, another villain of the Batman. We're also going to be getting to know Deathstroke and Bane. By the time we get into The Brave and the Bold, we're going to be like, oh my god, like finally the Batman is here, and look at all these villains that we already recognize. It's going to be so much fun. Just think about it like this. Notice how we saw the Penguin season 1 and how that story ended up evolving by the end. We saw the Penguin kill Vic at the end, and we're like, oh my god, bro, like the Penguin, he freaking sucks. This guy is like a true villain, and I want his ass beat or whatever. It did gear us up to get more excited about the Batman Part 2. It is one of the goals that shows do have in the end, is to get you geared up and have more anticipation for what's coming next. And that is why many people want to see the Batman Part 2. So the same thing is going to go on with these movies. It's going to gear us up for the Batman, the Brave and the Bold. And I do think that even though it does seem like they might be taking the anti-hero route with these films, like maybe they might not make Bane and Deathstroke too evil, I think they're going to go a complete 360. They're going to do the Penguin route for sure. They're going to make them pure evil. We're going to hate them by the end. There is no way they're going to pull off a Venom or a Kraven the Hunter type of situation. There has also been plenty of fan casting. For example, many have been speculating that maybe Dave Bautista could play Bane. He has been chasing this role for many years, and he's physically perfect. And ultimately, he's close to James Gunn, and he has worked with James Gunn over the past 10 years. As for Deathstroke, maybe they could bring back Joe Manganiello. Don't expect the budget for this movie to be like freaking huge. Like, this is not going to be one of those movies where they might spend $180 million. It's most likely going to be a mid-budget production, very similar to Clayface, maybe around $55 to $60 million. Their goal is to make this film gritty, very street level. Think about it like John Wick meeting the Batman. James Gunn also recently had an interview, and he talked about like what is going to be the future of The Brave and the Bold, and he explained that there is no year left. We have not casted the brand new Batman, but he did state that we're not going to have to wait until The Brave and the Bold to finally see the DCU's Batman. Most likely, we're going to be seeing the Batman in a different project. We don't know if it's going to be in Peacemaker Season 2, maybe Clayface, who knows? But it is going to be very soon. He also stated that with the next project that he is working on, it's not going to be a world's finest movie. It is going to be containing Superman, and he's going to be very important to the film, but it's also not going to be Batman v Superman. He stated that there is going to be an announcement on this next project sooner rather than later, but it's not going to be this week. In my own speculation, I really do think that James Gunn is developing a Superman family film where we see many different versions of Superman, meaning that we could see Supergirl, Superboy, Power Girl, and many other members. James Gunn also explained that we could have Henry Cavill in the DCU. He said that I talked to him about it on that day, and this was when he had to have that conversation with Henry Cavill that he was no longer going to be Superman, but they discussed it on that day, and he explained that he would love to have Henry in something. So we'll see. I don't know what Henry Cavill could be in, what role he could also take. It'll be very surprising and very dramatic if he takes on the role of the Batman, but we'll see. Only time will tell. He also explained that as for the Aquaman and the Flash, don't expect for either of them to appear in the DCU within the next 2 years. So if we were to ever see any sort of signs about Aquaman or the Flash or any appearances, it would have to be around 2028 or 2029. DC Studios is very much focused on 4 pillars, which is Superman, Supergirl, Wonder Woman, and the Batman, with also maybe dashing in the Lanterns in the conversation, but those are going to be the main 4 pillars. Aquaman and the Flash are out of the conversation for now. We're also going to be seeing some villains go here and there like we did discuss, like Deathstroke, Bane, Clayface, and then after that, I believe that post 2028 we'll be getting projects of the Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, and many more. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.